So everybody, we're so excited that Fran is joining us, the decorator extraordinaire, an old friend of mine. And
Thank you for having me.
She agreed to join us for the Wealth Edit Wednesday call. And so Fran, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you do and your family, all the good stuff?
Yes, all the things. Well, okay, we have a firm that we do high-end residential design. And we've been, I guess, in existence for 13 years. So we're located out of a small studio in Homewood, but we work all over. So we have clients from all over that we get to work on their homes and actualize their dreams that they have, and how they want to live, and what they want it to look like. And so it's a lot of fun. There's so many days where I can't believe that I get to do what I do and get paid for it. I have an awesome team. There's 4 of us total. And I'm also a mom. I have 3 kids and a wonderful supportive husband that is very necessary in order to do what I do. So, feeling very blessed and grateful these days. I will definitely say that.
Well, Fran, I know everybody just loves your unique design style. I love it. It's just eclectic with old and new mix, a ton of attention to detail, which I love because I think that's just the lost art these days. And you really take the time to get to know the client. How do you integrate like the client's personality and their needs into your design?
Yeah, it's actually a really fun part of my work that I get to do. I almost was a counselor. And so it's a lot of fun I call it the Carrie Matheson approach, where, in Homeland, where I get to kind of get inside their heads and figure out, except clients aren't terrorists. And
most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. But I stay at the studio. It's we really want to do what they would do if they had the language to do it. And so that's really a fun part, is tapping into their interests. I mean, I love to, get inside their closet and say, what turtleneck do you reach for every winter? Or what's the sweater that makes you happy? Or what's the earring? Or if you're, having friends over, but you put out nice china, what is it? Those types of questions. We do a lot of get to know you things, and really a lot of listening. That's really where it comes from, is just a lot of listening.
Yeah. And okay, so you were originally in fashion.
Yes.
Okay, and so we talk a lot. So tell us a little bit about being in fashion, what you want to tell us, and then how you made the pivot. We talk a lot about pivots here. So how you pivoted to.
Yeah. So, well, I grew up, I'll say this, my parents were both house people, and their parents were too. And so I think I naturally just was drawn to the aesthetics of the home, and kind of grew up doing those things, and really didn't even realize it, that I loved so many of those details until I was older. But I got a degree in fashion from University of Alabama in fashion design, and then moved to New York and worked for several fashion houses there. So I was on the menswear team at Polo Jeans, which was a licensee that Ralph did. And so it was a lot of hands-on, really fun, just super creative. And then I had a friend that worked for an interior design firm, and we went to church together, and she would tell me about her job. And I was always like, golly, that is so, okay, so y'all are designing fabrics and wallpapers and things like that? And she was like, yes. And I had already been designing prints and plaids and things like that. So it's a lot of natural transition. And so I left Polo Jeans. It was a wonderful experience, but it was like a lot of, a lot of hours. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe and she said, I really think that you should talk to Bill and Tony. So I interviewed with them, and my textile design and color theory just really helped me kind of bridge the gap. I mean, a good red is a good red, whether it's a wall color or a sweater. It's just, those things are transitional. And so it was really a fun transition for me. I was one of my first projects for Bill and Tony was researching like Art Deco motifs at the New York Public Library. And I would go and pull out these motifs, and then the motifs would become like a 50-foot rug, and they would, it'd be loomed in Portugal. And so it was the height of just custom work. And I am so grateful for that experience. So.
And then you came back home.
Yep. So Matt decided, we were there during 9/11, and it was a interesting time. We didn't want to leave the city, but he really wanted to go to law school, and our families were in the Southeast. And so he applied all over, and then we wound up in Birmingham, and it has been a really great thing. I had a friend who was launching a magazine, he was executive editor, Lindsay Behrman. And so I went, well, let me back up a minute. Matt, when he was applying for law school, he said, can you do fashion or can you do interiors? Because it kind of opened up the job market for me. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do whatever for you. But I really wanted to do interiors. So Saks Department Store Group bought a menswear label. And so when we moved down here, they moved us from New York, and I designed the Rough Hewn label, and it was at all of the Saks stores, and so all of the Parisian department store group. So I did that for about 18 months, and then Lindsay Behrman launched Cottage Living, and so I was there with them, and I was decorating editor there. So
that was my favorite.
I know, didn't you just love
everything about it? Favorite magazine.
Oh, thank you. We still miss it. It was really special. It was a super team. I'm very grateful to have been, he just unleashed us in such a creative way. So very grateful for that experience.
Okay, Fran, so shifting gears just a little bit, we at the Wealth Edit love to get women talking about money. Can you tell us a little bit about how you view interior design and that being a big financial decision?
Because it's like 5 to 7 figures, so it's definitely a financial.
Yes, definitely. I would say, we can talk statistics, and I can tell you how our homes with the resale and how it's, we have very good results on homes that we have worked in, and how our clients have fortunately experienced big gains. But I would say it is, and actually I was going to share this. In 2008, when the last downturn, what we found with clients is that they were not as interested in moving because their properties, obviously they wanted to stay put. The properties probably weren't worth what they had paid, but they said, now that we're here, we're going to stay put and just invest in where we are. And so what we found is that they really got to nest a lot in where they were, and where they may not have gone as deep into their current locations. And so that was really fun. And we didn't really see a downturn in our work because we were just embracing where we were. So I would say you find that, and we encourage clients to put a lot of value in their homes. And when they do, what we find is that the return is not only monetary, but it's also lifestyle. And so, we are directly affected by our environments. And that's been said for years, and I cannot agree more. And when your home brings you joy, it inspires your daily living. It provides mojo that we wouldn't necessarily have on a daily basis. And it can be big, it can be small, but we experience this all the time in our work. And that's what's so fun for us. If we can't bring momentum to the process, then we're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. And so how do you engage? Because I don't think this is true. And I actually think this is changing day by day from the clients that we serve in our private practice. But how do you engage if it's a couple? How do you engage both the male and the female? If you're a single person, mm-hmm. Like to make an investment in design.
Yeah.
Help us through that.
So, what's interesting is that I found that the men are probably more particular than the women. Mm-hmm. And I learned that through doing menswear. Women will pour themselves into a skirt that's 2 sizes too small, but if she loves it, she's going to wear it. A man, if a button is an inch further over than it needs to be, it puts him in a bad mood. So I have learned that when we start talking about details, and like comfort is so key. And it's really, for us, it is a big part of our communicating about upholstery and draperies. I mean, I love hearing when husbands come home from work and we've installed draperies in a project and he's just like, this is unreal. I didn't know we could live like this. It was just really giving them what we do and them able to see this and appreciate it. So that's really fun when they notice the details, and the more engagement that we have with both parties. And I always say, if you have veto power, we need you at the meeting. Because if everyone's engaged, then the project's just going to be so much better.
That's a good word. And so where have you seen, hold on, I had a question about this. Okay, tell us a story about one of your clients who really looked at design with a financial lens. So like that was just part of the fabric of the conversation from the beginning.
With a financial lens?
Yeah, like like they really look, because it feels a lot like sometimes it's emotional, or like, oh, I love that, or I want it to feel like that, and all those are great. But like, do you have some clients that are like, okay, tell me about the investment, or how does that work? Or have you had any clients like that?
So we have budgets that we do for each project. Okay. And we have, yes, and we have and we offer this to clients, and we do it probably more now than we have. It's a growing need and they appreciate it, but we break it down by room. And then I go through and we put specific prices on each item. So they are able to see. Now, obviously they pay us for our time to do this because we're basically giving them the prices per item, per room, per house. I mean, it's a lot of work, but in the end, they're able to see the breakdown of where their dollars are going. And then, so if we start a project and we have, $40,000 to spend, they can break it down and they see like, oh, okay, this is where we're headed. We're comfortable with this, or we need to tweak this, or we don't have as much value put in. Maybe we want to spend more on the art and less on the drapes, or that sort of thing. We're able to play with it. Mm-hmm. Well, sorry, go ahead, Lauren.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I think
I was just going to say,
because I feel like so many that I'm working with now, it's really hard to get some decorators to take the time to spend to build out a spreadsheet like that. I mean, that's really, really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it has been really advantageous for us to work that way, and especially for husbands who might be gun shy in the process, we're able to say, this is what we can do. And when we make a budget, I always try to be a little liberal on it. And then I say, hey, we're going to aim to beat this, but this is real, this is where we are. Our design time is a little bit harder to quantify, because we may have, you pay us to find those choices. And so if you ask for 3 choices, obviously it's going to cost more. But in terms of like tangible goods, yes, we can give you estimates for that.
That's so nice to hear, because when we've worked with designers in the past, I've always felt kind of awkward, like, how much does this cost? Which, if you go in any store, like this sweater that I have on, it's like, it might cost $250. I just want to know how much it costs. It's not necessarily, I don't want to pay that. It's just, I want to know how much it costs. But I feel awkward saying it. Wow.
Yeah. Well, and it's always, we send proposals, and so we don't pull any triggers until you send us the money. Yeah. So I'm not buying things prior to, or saying, hey, I got you this, or that sort of thing. So money is really the language that we use in order to, like, hey, that's the green light, go for it. Versus me just pitching something that I've already bought and hoping you like it.
Yeah. Okay, well, so shifting gears a little bit, because I know everybody wants you to answer a few questions about how we can kind of like spruce up our workspace. So many of us are at home working when we've never done before. Our kids are homeschooling next door or directly next to us. Can you give us some thoughts and ideas of how to like implement some small changes that might make our workspace a little more pleasant?
Yeah, I would say approach your workspace. It is now a new sanctuary that we have in our homes. So setting it apart as much as you possibly can. I mean, I'm in the middle of our living room that's surrounded by, you know, the staircase and other areas. But it is important, I think, for us to, and some people want to be completely closed off in a room with the door closed, which is great. Others of us are in areas where I'll put my earbuds in and I'm on a call, and my kids know if I've got the earbuds in and I'm talking, then, you know, I can't talk right then. But I think having a sense of order where you are and embracing that area, however big or small it can be, is key. I mean, I have a candle that I light on my desk. You know, just kind of gives me some ambiance. I get some music going if I'm not on a call. Just anything that you can help yourself sort of create some framework, and also for you to come into this environment and say, okay, now I'm going to work. What are some things that make it conducive? You know, if it's hot tea, if it's a candle, if it's music. I mean, those things sound so corny, but then when you really do those things, you realize that it kind of prepares you in a way that you're like, okay, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to do this. I think also too, just finding the light. If you have natural light, being able to be close to natural light is really key right now. I think the vitamin D needs are big, and anything we can do mood enhancing is key. It's definitely key. And also, if, you know, cutting a branch or bringing some green in is really great. If you have a houseplant that you like and it brings you joy, any of those things really do make a difference. And they also create a mindset for you. You're like, okay, I'm at work. Here I am. I'm at work. Now you may get interrupted 5 times, but at least it sends a message also to the people that you may be on a call with, but also your household, like, oh, she's working, you know?
Yeah. And Fran, please tell everybody how they can follow you on Instagram, because you have been doing these little vignettes like how to make up your bed, how to do your coffee table, your kitchen sink area, and it has been so fun. Like, they're just like the highlights. We find you on Instagram.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're on Fran Keenan Design is our Instagram handle, and I've enjoyed the daily tips. It's been, I mean, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's just been a fun thing. I'm not a doctor or a nurse, but I'm like, well, we can give a little bit of inspiration maybe. So it's been fun for me to do that. And I have to brag on my kids. They have risen to the challenge, and they're the cameramen. You know, the girls alternate. I have 2 teenage girls, and they alternate. They're like, you've got today, all right, I'll do tomorrow. And then Wilkes, my 9-year-old, is definitely keeping me laughing, so he makes it light. So
what's your next step?
You know, people have asked about bedside tables.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll probably do bedside tables today.
Okay.
And they're just quick, simple tips. It's nothing daunting, or, you know, I really just want it to be like, kind of like a girlfriend just coming over and be like, hey, let's spruce this up. Come on. What about this? That's that kind of thing. So.
Well, I'm excited.
Okay. What are 3, like, if you're just starting out in design, or maybe you're midway through and you've hired a couple of designers, but you're looking, you know, most of us are in our 30s, 40s. What are 3 like key investment pieces in design? So like maybe furniture or something that you think, like, if you're to have these 3 pieces, these are pieces that you'll pass down to your children if you have them, or just things that will really.
Yeah. Investment pieces. So I have a hashtag I use that I love to use. It's old breaks the mold.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love that.
you know, we have a lot of things in design now that you sort of know where they're from, And so I love using pieces that have a story that have stood the test of time already. And so it's always fun for us to bring that into a space, and old things really do that. They travel, they make a room feel traveled and authentic. And so that is really helpful for us when we're working with antiques. I have an affinity for old chests and old chairs. So any old chest that you can invest in, you will love. And I have things that old tables, case goods. We tend to buy old things. Case goods in the industry, or anything, tables, chests, things like that you that might be manufactured. And sometimes we use new things, but if there's a chance for us to use old, then we do. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that no one else can buy that piece, and they're not going anywhere. I mean, it's the greatest form of recycling.
I agree. It's sustainable. It's funny. I bought an antique desk for my office, and working with corporate on it, they were like, "Well, there's no warranty." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it's been here since the 1700s. Like, it's
Yeah.
yeah. for my working career."
Yeah.
So anyway, that's funny. But you're right. I mean, it's like there's no better warranty. It's been here for so long.
It has.
It's sustained.
Well, and I love the fact, I mean, we live hard on our house, so I love the fact that we're not the first ones to put a scratch on it.
Yeah, that's a good word. Okay, so when people are looking to hire you or any designer, what are some mistakes that they make? Is it not knowing what they want, or what's like a key thing that if you were going into a design process, that you'd say, hey, make sure you're pretty defined on this thing?
Pretty defined. I would say make sure that you're being heard, but also providing enough creative license for whoever you're hiring.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you would hire an artist to do a commission, the decorating, relationship is similar in that, and trust is essential. If you don't trust that person, you should not hire them. So we find that when trust is not there in a relationship, then you don't get the results that you would want. So hiring someone who you're like, no, I love what they do. I appreciate it. We have one of our best clients, she's an oncologist, and I love when she says this, it just cracks me up. She said, Fran, you're not going to tell me how to fight cancer, and I'm not going to tell you how to decorate my house.
That's so good.
I was like, yes, you're never going to hear tips from me on fighting cancer.
Okay, so our last question of the day is, can you give us your top financial tip? Something you think that you have done well financially in your life?
Wow. Well, I would say invest in your house. There's a great return in it. Matt and I both feel like there are some really great, just in the daily, that return you get to enjoy on a daily basis. And then when you get ready to sell, 9 times out of 10, someone is going to find those same things that you found worthy of spending your money in. If you don't have confidence in those decisions of investing in your home, then get professional help. Because 9 times out of 10, those relationships that you cultivate of people listening and learning and hearing what you want, and they're able to give you what you're willing to pay them for, it will return on your investment. And that goes, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that goes for your architect, your interior designer, your landscape architect, whoever it is. If you love their work and you're investing in them, then it will, 9 times out of 10, it will return on your investment.
And that's the same in our private practice too. I mean, it really is like professional services, you have to work with people that you trust, have got you.
Yeah.
That's a really good word. Well, Fran's a Heidi. She took the quiz. I'm Heidi too. So anyway, very fun. I'm going to open it up for questions for a couple minutes, and we'll let everybody go. Everybody's line is muted, so if you have a question, just unmute your line, or there's a chat box and you can ask Fran a question through chat.
Yeah. You had me at the beautiful logo. All of your graphics, they're so awesome.
Thank you.
I said Fran liked our logo. If Fran liked our logo,
We were really excited that you liked our logo. We were pretty pumped about that.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, it might be a quiet bunch today, but thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to have you, and we'll have you back. Wait, here's a question. Any favorite design books to read during quarantine? I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, wow. What time is it? Yeah, there's so many. I mean, I find that I'm reaching for my book. I'm always, looking through a book and always finding inspiration. That's a lot of, as Matt says, it's cheaper than a trip to Paris. I love all of the shelter books. I love what Steele is doing at Veranda, and her team is just incredible. And so that's a magazine tip. So that's definitely something fun. And then I would say books, anything from Lauren Lees has done some really great books. Her first book was Habitat. It's really great. Stephen Gambrell, Bunny Williams. Table Matters here in Birmingham has an awesome selection of books, and Patricia and her team can find, they can meet you at the door, lots of inspiration, gardens, and all sorts of cooking. So I'm either looking at house books or I'm looking at recipes. As long as it has beautiful pages, I'm definitely looking at it. But my library is stacked full of imagery. That's how we that's our currency in this business, is finding good images and being inspired by them. So a lot of it is just having the time to look at the book that might be on your coffee table that you thought was pretty and the cover's great, but now you actually get to sit down with it and read and look at the images. And I think that's a lot of fun for us during this time, is just having that moment to slow down and engage with those things that we're surrounded by, that we already found beautiful, but we didn't really know to the end. So
that's a good word, because I have several books that
I was just about to say I
through quickly, but haven't really explored.
So
yeah.
Fran, thank you so much for today. We hope we get to have you back again.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has been so fun.
Okay.
All right.
Have a great day.
Okay, y'all stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.